Hey guys, it's Bryony. Welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about the pill and more specifically my experience with it. So I have been taking the pill now for almost 8 weeks. You can see I'm just a few pills off finishing this second packet. And I thought this would be a really good time to talk about what my experience so far has been with it, what sort of side effects I've had, and generally how it's going, as this is kind of a good period of time to be able to get some sort of idea of how your body's reacting and adjusting to it, and also while I can still remember the early side effects that I had at the beginning. Now, if you watched my video, The Period That Finally Broke Me, you'll know my main reasons behind why I decided to start taking the pill, but just to quickly recap that, I had a period a few months ago where it wasn't the worst period I've ever had, but it was the period where I was just like, I'm done. I'm really done going through this pain every single month, it having to like uproot my life and change things around and like plan my life around my period because it's so painful and so unpredictable with the pain. Very regular periods, but like the period pain would be quite unpredictable. So I couldn't do regular everyday things and it was just really getting in the way. So I thought at that point I was like, do you know what, I think I'm finally ready. It's finally like pushed me and tested me enough that I'm willing to give, some form of contraception pretty much. And my first thought was the pill, a try. Now, I was always a bit concerned about this because I have an underlying condition called Lyme disease, which basically is a nasty bacterial infection that can affect every part of your body. I got it really badly when I was 15, and then over time I've gradually sort of recovered and I've been on antibiotics and other medication and treatments, and I'm at the point now where it's pretty stable, but it does still affect my liver. And so that was always one of the worries with taking any kind of synthetic hormones, that my body was going to really reject them. I did try the patch a few years ago and that did not work out well at all. I had some really severe side effects to that and really bad fatigue that was just debilitating basically. So that was definitely not a good one. But after that period that I had where I really just realised I'd had enough, my mother's friend, who was a gynaecologist, and of course this is before all the virus stuff happened and we were all locked down, she came down to see my mum, and she, as I said, she happens to be a gynaecologist, and I was able to talk to her about the different types of contraception and what might work. Now, the thing that I have always had really pushed at me is the Mirena device, but I was just like not willing to even consider the Mirena. It works fabulously for some people, but I just wasn't comfortable with the idea of it myself. And it's really important that if you are not comfortable with something, that you go with your gut instinct and don't feel pressured into trying something, particularly with contraception. It is your body and your choice, so just bear that in mind as well. So I knew that the Mirena wasn't right for me. It might be right later on, but as of right now I don't feel comfortable with the idea of having an internal device, and so I said to them I just don't want to do that. I'd rather try something like the pill first, which also gives me the option to stop completely and I have like more control if I should happen to have some really severe side effects like I'd had with the patch. And I did persist with the patch for a few weeks, but it just was so dreadful. I was like, I just can't even bear it anymore. But the pill is another one that you have a bit more control over, and that was quite important to me. So I was able to express that to her and she understood, and she recommended that the pill I should try is this one. This is Cerazette, and it's the 75 microgram film coated tablet version of Discharge. And as you can see, they're really, really tiny, like really minute pills. They don't really have any taste, very easy to swallow. I just take it in the morning, and you don't have to take it at exactly the same time, which is also quite good. You just have to take it roughly the same time. So it's okay if you're like an hour or two out. If you left it for like 12 hours, yeah, you're in a bit of trouble, but you can, as long as you're around the same time every day, it works great, which is really good. So in the UK, all contraception is free, and we also, the doctor's appointments that you go to get it are free as well, as usual. We have something called a GP, which is a general practitioner here, and all you do is, everybody has a local GP surgery where they can register. You simply book an appointment there, you go and see the doctor, discuss what you'd like, and they write you a prescription, which takes to the pharmacy, and then you pick up your prescription of whatever contraception it is that you need, and then that's it. You don't have to pay for it, it's all covered, because we have the wonderful NHS here. So that is what I did. I just made an appointment with my GP, went in there, had a very quick chat about how I wanted to take this one, and I'd had a conversation with the gynaecologist, and that was why, and he was very relaxed. He said, yep, I'll write you a 3-month prescription, and I went straight to the pharmacy and picked it up, and I started taking it the next day. Now, I should also just put a little disclaimer in here. The week that I started taking Cerazette was also the week that things started to get really bad in the UK in terms of the coronavirus, and we started to have a lot more talk about social distancing, and like up until this point it had been bumping elbows and we were still able to go to events. So I'm gonna warn you about that because of some of the symptoms that I had the first week. They may not specifically be related to this, so just bear that in mind. I would say the first 2 weeks is when I did experience the most side effects. Now that I'm on the 8th week, I really don't have any major side effects at all, apart from one thing which I will cover. But right at the beginning, the only side effects I really experienced was a mild case of nausea, usually sort of in the morning, kind of like what I imagine morning sickness to be like, but very, very mild version. And the other thing was really bad anxiety. I was so anxious that first week and a bit. But like I said, this is when the virus was really hitting and we were seeing it in the news a lot more. So it could very well have just been that. But I did feel like it exacerbated those symptoms a bit. So I still think it did have something to do with that, but I don't think it was 100% that sort of thing. So if we hadn't had this, massive global pandemic, how bad would the anxiety have been? Well, I'm not too sure. But for what I feel would be my normal level of anxiety, generally speaking, I'm quite a calm person, not too much tends to faze me. And like particularly now we're further in and the other side effects have sort of worn off with this, I don't have that feeling anymore. And that's what kind of led me to think, actually, I think this was just like the first week or two and it was made a bit worse by the pill. But other than those symptoms, the only other one I've had is irregular periods. Now, when I first went to the doctor and asked to have this pill, it was the first thing he said to me, by the way, it can take around 6 to 7 months for your periods to sort of settle down or stop completely, which is kind of my goal with this. It's to basically have a break from my periods for a while so I can just have a reset and a breather without having to worry every month about whether or not I'm going to be able to cope with my period pain, etc, etc. But yeah, I have definitely had irregular periods. I had an 18-day cycle, and then when I started bleeding with that, it wasn't very heavy. I still had a similar amount of pain as I would usually get my periods, but it's only one burst. Like it doesn't go on, and I had to take continuous ibuprofen every 4 hours like I would usually do on my periods, because it's only like a very little bit of blood. It's like one burst and then it sort of trickles on a bit. And that period I had after 18 days, literally I spotted continuously for 13 days, and then just as it was stopping, I started my period again. So I had a 13-day cycle with that one, and then that period was very light and it did stop, and then I had another week or two where it was actually, there was nothing again, so it was just normal discharge. And then I think I got pain, like an ovulation pain, because I was feeling really exhausted one day. I'm feeling really low, and I thought, oh my goodness, is this the virus getting to me? Like, is it like all the panic and everything? And then I realised, no, I think it was just ovulation, because I had some kind of gassiness and pain in my hip that night. And this pill doesn't stop you ovulating, by the way. It's important to mention. And then like a week later, I started getting some brown discharge again, and I thought, oh, my period must be coming. And sure enough, I am now currently bleeding. But it's so small. Like I woke up in the night with quite bad period pain. So I took some ibuprofen and I put on a pad. And then I went in the morning and I wiped, and there was quite a significant amount of blood on the toilet roll, but actually there was nothing on the pad. So it's just a very light period compared to what I would usually get, is what's currently happening. So very irregular, but I'm perfectly happy to put up with that, because as I said, it's not really causing me any significant pain at the moment. It's a bit annoying, but it's very easily manageable. So for me, that makes it worth it, because my pain beforehand was just off the charts. So to have manageable pain is a really big deal, so really good. And as I said before, I'm only on week 8 of this pill, so there's still plenty of time for things to settle down, and I've just got to be patient on that score. But otherwise, like, some of the side effects that I was worried about because of my liver haven't happened, which is really good. So I would describe this as, actually, for me personally, has been quite a gentle pill. It hasn't caused too many issues. Aside from that mild nausea and a little bit of extra anxiety in the first week, I haven't had any other symptoms, and as I said, they wore off very quickly. So yeah, it's been really great. I haven't felt more tired than usual. Again, it's really hard because we're in lockdown, so like, I do have a nap in the day, but it's partly because I haven't got as much to do as I would usually have. So I wouldn't attribute that to the pill. I feel genuinely normal, like I would if I wasn't taking it, which is really awesome. So far, so good, and fingers crossed it stays this way. But if you are considering trying a contraception, it's definitely worth going and having a discussion with your doctor and seeing if they think this pill could be an option for you, or if there's another one you should take. The Cerazette pill is the progesterone only pill, so this has no estrogen in it, and I suspect that's why it's worked quite so well for me, because I think I have quite a lot of estrogen dominance in my system, particularly with my heavy periods and having clots. That shows a lot of estrogen dominance, so I think the progesterone only side of it is what has made this work quite well for me personally. But everyone's individual, your body's going to be different from mine, so don't just take my word for it. It's very important that you have a discussion with a medical professional about this and work out which is going to be the best option for you. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will give you an update in maybe like 6 months time and keep you up to date with how this period's going. The great thing was I was a bit worried recently because we've had some shortages with our pharmacies around here. I was worried they might run out, so I just called up the GP and asked if I needed to see the doctor for a repeat prescription, and actually I was able to just have a quick phone consultation with them and confirm that I wasn't having any serious side effects, and he literally like sent the prescription straight to the pharmacy, and I went there yesterday and picked it up and it was all fine. So they're doing really well here, which is really great. So much love to those of you out there working with like NHS and the healthcare systems all over the world. We're thinking of you, and thanks so much for keeping things going as much as possible for all of us, and we really appreciate it. And just a quick little side note before I go. Some of you will be aware that the British factory that makes our Sparkle range at Precious Stars, which is the business side, where I sell reusable menstrual products for those of you that are interested in trying them out. Now's a great chance to switch, of course. That factory has temporarily shut down during the lockdown. So as a result of that, we were still getting people wanting to order. So I decided to go back to my roots and how everything started. For those of you who've been watching for a while, you remember I used to make cloth pads myself. So that's what I've started doing again. And just giving you a little sneak hint of one of the prints that we've got. This is the geisha print. So this is the front, this is the side you bleed on with the sparkle pads, and this is the back. And one of the main differences is, as you can see, these have special edition gold snaps. I've sort of jokingly started calling these the pandemic pads because we're just adapting for the current circumstances. And there would usually be a label here saying Precious Stars, so you know that's where it's from, but I couldn't get hold of that. So we're just adapting with what we can. But the rest of this is exactly the same construction as our pads from the Sparkle range would usually be, and we have just a few of these going out every week. So if you want to get your hands on some, be sure to check out Precious Stars. The link is down below, and also be sure to follow our Instagram and our Facebook pages. They are at Precious Stars Shop. It's different from my own personal Instagram and Facebook page. Some people get a bit confused, but I will put the link down below for those as well. And there is a competition on at the moment actually where you can win a £10 coupon. So be sure to go and follow them and then enter into that competition if you want to try them out. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Do please subscribe to keep up to date with all the new stuff coming out. I also have a Patreon page where you can support me too. The link is down below. Everything is down below in the box below. Just check out the box down there. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you next week. Stay safe, and I hope to see you soon. Bye everyone.